where you want it.
Bay 12, please.
Hello there, Transformers fans, and welcome back to another Bay 12 video. And today we're doing something a little different. One, we're going to introduce the new Lego Optimus Prime collab piece. This set, I have been very excited since not only the rumor of it, but then, of course, the announcement of its release. And now, we finally have our own copy. We're going to be building this thing. So this is actually going to be a sequence of videos. This is the introductory video where we're going to be talking about, hey, it's here, it's awesome, the packaging looks great. There's going to be a rapid time-lapse build video where I'm going to be pretty much building this thing at home. And then there's going to be the review of the set itself, the full articulation breakdown, its transformation like a normal Transformers video review, because this thing, once assembled, does fully transform without the removal of components or parts, which is really cool. It comes with its own assemblable materials. So once built, this thing is its own awesome thing. So here is the packaging, of course. It looks so awesome. I am so glad it's finally here. So there it is. Now, I am looking forward to the possibility of Lego doing more. You got Transformers there, Optimus Prime on the side, you got that classic logo, and then over here you've got a side view of the fully built Optimus Prime. Up top, you got Transformers Optimus Prime with Hasbro on there, plus this awesome unique piece there. On the back, you've got just like a sequence of it converting into truck mode. You've got the buildable accessories, so there's going to be a plaque. You get to build the Matrix of Leadership, an Energon Cube, his Energon Axe, and his Ion Blaster. And then you also get to build the jetpack he uses in the very, not first episode, but first story arc. There you go. In the third episode where he borrows Sideswipe's jetpack. I'm so excited for this. Do I hope they do more? Yes. In a perfect world, if Lego has to do any more, fingers crossed that they do Megatron. Other than that, I mean, I'm pretty happy with Optimus Prime. I mean, Optimus is a very integral character. He's probably, if you had to pick a singular pillar character for the Transformers, it is Optimus Prime. And that's why I wanted to talk about the legacy of the character, because we do a lot of Transformers reviews amongst other things here on Bay 12. And many of you know who've been watching with us for a long time that Transformers is my absolute favorite thing. If I had to pick one fandom that is my #1 favorite thing in life, it is the Transformers. And Optimus Prime has been a very big part of that. I would say I owe a lot to where I am in life professionally to the legacy of the character, to the fact that Optimus Prime is a personal hero of mine growing up, which, I mean, if you're going to have, your hero growing up, who better than a hero, which a lot of that goes into mostly the portrayal by, of course, the legendary Peter Cullen, who based the heroic portrayal of Optimus Prime off of a real-life hero, a military serviceman, his brother Larry Cullen. So, for those of you who are not too familiar with the story behind the creation of Optimus Prime, of course, yes, it was created by Hasbro. His character profile was originally written by Bob Budiansky in Marvel back in the 80s when Hasbro was approaching Marvel to write character profiles for their toys for comic books, and which was to be later used for the cartoon as well. And when Peter was getting ready for his audition, as he tells his story, he talked to his brother, and his brother tells him to be a real hero. Don't be one of those action Hollywood heroes. Be a real hero. Be gentle when you need to be gentle, and fight when you need to fight, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, of course. If you want to hear it from Peter himself. It's much more magnificent coming from Peter himself. But in a sense, he achieved that. He was a real hero. And I remember the first time I saw Optimus Prime on screen. Of course, I'm a 90s kid, so for me, Transformers started around the early 2000s, late 90s. But my first exposure to Transformers, at least my first memorable exposure to Transformers, wasn't on cable TV, whatever was playing at the time. Where I grew up, my family didn't go out and buy a bunch of videos or watch a lot of cable television or satellite television, which was picking up more at the time. We would go to our local library if we wanted to watch TV, and we would check out videotapes that they had. And one of my favorite videotapes, I remember the first time I ever checked out was the first 3 episodes, the first story arc of the Transformers, the original 80s cartoon. And I remember seeing Optimus Prime and having watched a bunch of old westerns thinking, that guy kind of sounds familiar. And of course, I didn't realize because it was Peter Cullen, because I wasn't, I was just a little kid. I wasn't into voice acting or voice actors yet. And I thought, that kind of sounds like John Wayne. I remember telling my dad that, Dad, watch this. John Wayne's this Optimus Prime guy. And he's like, no, that's not John Wayne's son, and all that stuff. And then I just remember just falling in love with it instantly. And one of the things about the character, the legacies of the character, is how much how recognizable the character has been over the years. In fact, my first Optimus Prime toy wasn't even the Optimus Prime. Of course, this is not the Optimus Prime. Wasn't a G1 toy. Didn't even resemble the G1 Optimus Prime, only a little bit. My first Optimus Prime toy, I have it here with me, was the Transformers Armada Power Links color scheme. Optimus, given to me by my oldest friend. His name is Chase Stanley. Very, very good friend of mine. And we still talk to this day. But, back in elementary school, we were hanging out on one of our various sleepovers, and he was like, oh, you're really into Transformers now? Me and my brothers have, because he had 2 older brothers, have had Transformers for a long time, and I don't really play with them anymore. And his mom was having garage sales around that time too, and just selling various toys that they had that they didn't play with, as moms do. And he was like, here, you can have this. And because I had been talking about Optimus Prime a lot, because I'd just gotten into Transformers. And he gave me my first Optimus Prime toy. And I still have this toy. It's one of my most prized pieces in my collection. I mean, my Transformers collection is approaching about 1,000 figures, actually. Nearly 1,000 figures at this point, which is a huge number. But a good chunk of that number is Optimus Primes, because I love collecting Optimus Prime, because again, he's one of my life heroes, and one of the inspirations that led me to specifically Peter also, that led me to the career path I had chosen and have ended up at today. So no matter what body type he has or what face he has, Optimus Prime is one of the most influential characters in fiction, one of the most influential parts of the Transformers. I mean, when you think of Transformers, odds are you're probably, one of the first names that comes to your mind is Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, or Starscream. Probably in that order. Maybe even Soundwave, because he's also a big face in the Transformers. But Optimus Prime is close to first on that list, if not the first name on that list, just because of how iconic he is. And it's a character that hasn't gone away since 1984, and it's a character that probably will never go away. Because when they tried to take him away in 1986, well, Hasbro had a lot of fan backlash. They got a lot of letters in the mail saying, hey, bring back our character, and which, of course, they did by the end of the show. Optimus Prime isn't going away anytime soon. And I'm loving this surge in G1 Prime aesthetics lately. I mean, in the past 4 or 5 years now, Hasbro has been doing very heavy G1 aesthetic Optimus Prime stuff. They've even been licensing to other companies like Lego now to recreate Optimus Prime in their, toy lines or their styles, which has been incredible just to see how this character is just constantly immortalized and with so many different brands and in so many different ways. And the latest and probably one of the more milestone roles is this Lego set here, which is so incredible to me that the fine folks at Lego took the time to not only design and engineer a buildable Optimus Prime Lego set, but also go through all of the effort to make it fully transformable. Because there was a few building block system toy companies in the past that have tried their hand at doing Transformers this way. One of the most notable, probably the most recognizable name in that was Creo. Now, they had the license for a good while, and almost a good decade, but even they weren't quite able to master that once built ability to transform without, almost completely disassembling it to get it into that other mode, which they were still pretty cool. But the first was actually, I believe, Mega Bloks, because they did it back around the times of Transformers Armada and Transformers Energon. And I remember seeing some of those toys on shelves and had a few of them over the years, but they didn't really stick with me because, honestly, they weren't really that great. I know Mega Bloks has come a long way. Well, now they're Mega Constructs, but they're still not at Lego's level yet. And Lego has been pretty incredible. So thank you, Lego, for doing such an awesome, awesome piece. They didn't send us this piece to do all kinds of review content with, but we're going to do it. I went out and bought this at the Lego store myself because I was so excited to get it. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope y'all tune into the build video where, again, it's going to be a quick time lapse of just me building this at home. And then stay tuned for the actual figure review of this. But before we get to that, they like to talk about the legacy of the character as well in the instruction book. So I do want to go over that information. And I'll go over it again in the video review itself when I actually review the figure. But I want to go over that in this video. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and open everything up. Here's our booklet. And here's all of our bags of pieces and parts. So there's all that. To say that I'm excited to put this together is an understatement. Now, some of you have probably already picked yours up, and some of you have probably, look at that. There's a lot of the parts of the Energon Axe and Cube for sure in there. Some of you have probably already long assembled yours by the time you've watched this video. And I hope you tuned in. Maybe I said something that resonates with you about Optimus Prime. Maybe I said something that resonates with Peter. All right, that's kind of neat. Oh, we're making new packaging, more sustainable. Okay. Well, it's a little love note from Lego, it looks like. We're transitioning from single-use plastic to paper-based packaging. As we progress, you may find a mix of paper and plastic in our boxes. Well, how about that? Well, there wasn't any paper in this one. It was all plastic, so maybe on the next one. If they do Megatron Lego. I'm not saying do Megatron because I'm going to have to buy it. But do Megatron because I'm going to have to buy that. And it would look great next to my Optimus Prime. With collecting Optimus Primes, I can't resist a good G1 style Optimus Prime these days. Pretty much everyone that's been released, I'm like, all right, I got to get that. All right, I got to get that. So now within my Transformers collection, personally, there's like this big subset of G1 or G1 stylized Optimus Primes. Yeah, it's a lot. Let's see, we got our sticker sheet here. Love stickers. And here is our book. This book is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's bound. That's nice. You got part of the Autobot logo there, really big. You've got a little Autobot logo there on the bottom. My only notes about this is I wish it had Optimus Prime there on the front of the book itself. Other than that, I mean, I love this. You've of course got all the instructions and stuff there. And then when you turn to the first page, look at that beautiful cover art there. Oh, I love that. And then of course you got words and things over here, which I will read for you aloud. I won't be reading it in all of the languages, but we have English, Spanish, and I believe French maybe? French maybe? I don't speak French or read French, so I'm not super good at recognizing it, so I apologize. Autobots convert and roll out. What started off in 1984 as a series of toy robots that could quickly change into other forms became a global cultural phenomenon encompassing comic books, video games, animations, and live-action blockbuster movies. It's little wonder generations of fans continue to follow the epic battles between the Autobots and Decepticons for control of the planet of Cybertron and beyond. This Lego model of Optimus Prime, the charismatic leader of the Autobots, is the first time the Transformers universe is represented in Lego bricks. Enjoy. Thank you, Lego. I will enjoy. Page 2. I love that artwork there of the Lego model. That's really cool. Just as another note to Lego, I would have liked to have had this as a like an 8x10 print or something inside the box, just because that's really cool artwork. Actually, that would have been really neat. And even if it was something not in the box, something you could purchase on like Lego's website or at the Lego store, because you could only get this at the Lego store. So, or the Lego store website, of course. So I think that would have been cool to include maybe a print of this as well, because I would love to display that. I really like that. And then of course there's words and things on the other side, and I love how he's holding up the Matrix. Optimus Prime, the true hero of the Transformers universe, is Optimus Prime, a powerful leader defined by his strong moral character and heroic feats on the battlefield against his arch enemy, Megatron, and the Decepticons. He carries the Matrix of Leadership, an ancient and powerful artifact that gives him upgraded abilities and knowledge of all Cybertronian history. There may be faster Transformers with more potent firepower, but everything else in the stats reinforces Optimus Prime's position as a dedicated leader and fearless warrior. His function, he is a commander. He has 10 strength, 10 intelligence, 8 speed, 10 endurance, rank 10, 10 courage, 8 in firepower, and 10 in skill. So mostly 10s across the board there, except for firepower and speed, which close enough, honestly. Next page. Got some awesome images of the set there with the accessories, some words and things. I'm assuming this is the guy specifically responsible for this set, so thank you to whoever that is, and I'm sure it's going to talk about that here in a moment. One shall stand, one shall fall. Just like the original toy, this Lego model of Optimus Prime is capable of turning from robot mode to truck mode and back. It also comes with many of his iconic accessories: an ion blaster, energon axe, jetpack, and the Autobot Matrix of Leadership. It also has an energon cube to give him energy to battle his evil foes. And thank you so much for having the correct names of his accessories on here. Now, with the axe, the jetpack, it's really, you could have just gotten away with saying axe, jetpack, well, not so much jetpack, axe and blaster, but they properly labeled it the ion blaster and the energon axe. Awesome. Really awesome. From the Lego design team, this is the next page. Transformers, in quotes, Transformers was what inspired me to become a toy designer. So I was very excited to use Lego bricks to bring Optimus to life. There were many challenges in designing this model to make it both stable, dynamic, and faithful to the design of Optimus Prime. The most fun challenge, however, was getting him to change between modes without disassembly. Props. That was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. To do this, I built block shapes of the major components, adjusting proportions to match both the robot and vehicle. The transformation had to be as simple as possible without compromising the look of either mode. Joseph Patrick Hyde, Senior Designer. Joseph, man, you're the man. Awesome. And that's pretty much it. After that, we get right into the step-by-step of building Optimus Prime. So stay tuned for that video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. What does Optimus Prime mean to you? What is a fictional character that you look upon as a hero, a big pillar, a big part of your life that maybe inspired you to be where you are today? Let us know in the comments of this video. Please let us know in the comments. Engage with us more. Tune in, follow us on social media, and check out more awesome Bay 12 content. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. Transform and roll out.